to make sure the crooks get their comeuppance.
I can't let somebody like that ruin my life.
We definitely outfoxed you this time.
Yes, they were brought to justice.
Don't call me Miss Marple for nothing.
So anyone who's up to no good had better think twice. They might just get caught red-handed. Today, Anne runs a convenience store in Melton Mowbray, Leicestershire. One day, the shop is raided by an armed robber wielding an axe, and Anne risks her life to save her colleague Sue.
I'd got to protect Sue because she was trapped. I just looked him straight in the eye and said, "You don't frighten me." I said, "I'm going to call the police."
But before Anne can phone 999, a robber attacks her and then runs out with hundreds of pounds from the till.
He could have killed her. For what? A few pounds.
But the thug soon finds out it's not a good idea to mess with the men and women of Melton Mowbray. Anne's not the only have-a-go hero in town. Also today, Annette and Tim set up a charity to raise money for families with children suffering from cancer in memory of their beloved daughter, Ruby. But this thief thinks he deserves the money more.
I was angry that somebody could do such a thing, and he took it without a second thought. That was really shocking, that it just seemed to come so easily.
Also later, pigs might fly, but this ornamental pig is going for a walk in the arms of two young girls in Gloucester. So what's the story here? Well, like with most pigs, there's a twist in the tale. Police say people who witness a crime should be cautious about getting involved in case they put themselves at risk. But we do hear about have-a-go heroes, and one town in Leicestershire has more than its fair share of them. In the market town of Melton Mowbray, Anne and her husband Richard run a convenience store. They were both born and grew up in the area.
Melton Mowbray is a lovely town, really homely, and all the people that come in are all so chatty and dead friendly, and it's always so peaceful.
Anne and Richard took over the shop from his parents 38 years ago. He'd been working as an engineer for 10 years.
They wanted it kept in the family. We ummed and ahed, and Richard thought, I don't really know, so it's really what I want to do. I'm an engineer. But then he thought, well, and it just happened, and we thoroughly enjoy it. We've got 3 members of staff. We all get on so well.
One of the staff, Sue, used to be a regular customer.
I can remember knocking on her front door and saying, "Sue, help, we need some staff." And she answered that call and came and stayed.
It was 15 years ago, and it's been great. It really has. You can have a good laugh, and people will talk to us, and I always say to them, don't worry, I'm like a doctor. I don't tell anybody anything, you know.
Anne thoroughly enjoys her job every day, apart from once many years ago when she faced an armed robber.
It was a fake weapon, and they caught him, and you get over it, but that was quite a while ago, about 12, 15 years ago.
But lightning is about to strike twice, and this time by an armed robber with a real weapon who is not afraid to use it. It's just gone 5 p.m. on a weekday in the spring. Anne is checking the stock at the back of the shop.
I was just finishing my shift, and Sue was behind the counter.
I'd just been to get some cigarettes to fill the cupboard up.
The shop's security camera shows Sue filling the shelves near the till. Suddenly, a man wearing a hoodie and a scarf across his face comes through the door and heads straight for Sue.
He said, open the till. And you think to yourself, well, no, that's not happening here.
The man starts to climb over the counter, and Sue is horrified to see that he's carrying an axe.
It was very disturbing because he's got this weapon and he was desperate.
Sue backs away as the man moves menacingly towards her. She turns and sees Anne at the back of the store.
She shouted, "Help, help." And there stood this man with this horrible axe over Sue. threatening her.
She bravely tries to distract the robber.
I knew I'd got to protect Sue because she was trapped. I just looked him straight in the eye and said, "You don't frighten me." I said, "I'm going to call the police." I couldn't have done it because my fingers wouldn't have worked, but I frit him enough to leave Sue alone and come after me.
Anne has put herself in danger to help her friend. The robber lunges at her, forcing her backwards out of the camera view.
He pushed me extremely hard up against the wall, which hurt my right shoulder. I then rebounded back over and he came down quite heavily with this rusty old axe.
The man had launched himself at Anne.
The fear of what he had done, and then he ran from me back to Sue.
I was sort of still behind there. Hang on. And he just come in and said, "Open that till." I don't know how many times he said it. And I tried to open it, but I couldn't.
Anne is in agony, but she realises she needs to go and call the police.